Welcome to Gaga Knits. My name's Anita and I live in South Wales in the UK, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Anita Bulb, and show notes can be found as always in the description box below. I hope you've had a nice few weeks since I spoke with you last. I've been quite busy crafting away, and I've got lots to show you today. I've got some finished objects, some works in progress, an acquisition and a new segment which I shall talk to you about later on. So let's start with knitting. As you can see, I have finished my Branches and Buds Pullover by Carrie, Bostick, Hoge. I knitted it in pure Shetland wool from Honorwood Flocks, the yarn I got when we were away in West Wales on holidays last year. And this is the fawn colour, which is the natural colour of the sheep's fleece, and the cream. And I used 300-gram skeins of the fawn and obviously just a small amount of this, and I think it fits pretty well. It's nice and cozy. I have knitted the sleeves just to the length I like, which is just a little bit longer, and although it's Shetland wool, it doesn't seem itchy and it's nice, not too hot, but a nice fit. So I'm glad I've got this finished at last. I knit the third size, which was 39.25, and I think that's the perfect size for me. There's nothing really much else to say about it, except I'm very happy with it. My second finished object is this cowl that I made using the Sirdar Alpine yarn in Panther. I used two balls, which 250-gram balls, so that's 100 grams, and I didn't have a pattern. I just cast on 17 stitches on 10mm needles, knitted round and round until I was almost at the end, and when I cast off I picked up the cast on stitches at the same time to make it into a loop, and then I didn't have to sew it up. So I've been wearing that to work because in the mornings it's been quite chilly, and now I have had my hair cut. It's quite cold around my neck in the mornings, so this has been greatly appreciated. I have only one work in progress at the moment, which is Harry's fingerless gloves. Here is one I've nearly finished. I've just got to do the little thumb, but I thought I would do the thumbs at the end when I've got the two together. I've only got that far, just doing the cuff. I'm trying to match up. When I started knitting, I just cast on straight away and didn't think to make sure I was in a good spot for the stripes, but I've tried to match it up pretty well, I think. So I'm hoping they'll be okay. I'm using this Sirdar Heart Sole in the Happy Camper colourway as they go camping. So he won't be taking his gloves camping, I don't expect. And I am using the pattern, I have made them before, the adorable kids fingerless gloves pattern, and there's two sizes, size 3 to 5-year-old, which I made for him for, and the 6 to 8, which I'm making now, so they should fit in for a little while. And I'm using my Knit Pro DPNs because I am quite happy with using DPNs now. I don't seem to get ladders. Something's happened and I get on really well with DPNs. In the pipeline for knitting, at the beginning of February I had a birthday, and my lovely cousin Nikki from Canada sent me a nice card, and inside the card I thought there was a letter, but lo and behold, it was actually a template of her foot, as she would like me to make her a pair of socks. So that did make me laugh. I then started having a look on Ravelry to see if I could find a suitable pattern, because I wanted to make her a pair of socks that reflected her and her likes and interests, and she likes being outdoors and travelling and gardening, cooking, her cats. So I had lots of things to choose from, and on Ravelry I came across this free pattern, and it's called Windowsill by Anne Abrahamsen. And the only problem was that the pattern was no longer in print, but she said that you could still print off the chart for the windowsill and the flower pots, which is that. So I've done that, and she said basically any 60 stitch sock pattern you could use, and then use, oops, like that, and use the pattern at the top. So I'm going to just do a vanilla sock and use that patterning at the top. And which one was it? Oh, I put hers in here because she likes cooking. And unfortunately, I didn't have the cream yarn that's required for the main part of the sock. And I did look on Ravelry, there's several different projects with different colours, but I liked that. I wanted something similar to that. So I've had to order some cream yarn. Although I'm on a self-imposed yarn buying ban, this is for a gift, so I think it's slightly different. But the rest of the yarns I'm using are from Stash. So the flowers at the top, which I think are probably geraniums and snapdragons, I think it might look like. I'm going to use this lovely pink sparkly owl about yarn for sock 4-ply on the February 14th colourway. And the windowsill and the plant pot are just generic. This is the, let's see what we got. The green is Bottle Green by Patons Diploma Gold, and the drops Fabel brown. So they were just those. And the green of the stems, I'm going to use this lovely skein. I caked it up yesterday, and it's from Wendy's Woolies, and it's the yarn that I got when we went to Narberth. For every Friday in Narberth in West Wales there is a craft fair in the hall, so when we're caravanning down there I like to go, and this is from her own sheep, from Wendy I'm assuming, and it says hand produced yarn from my sheep to you, and it's 75% wool, 25% polyamide sock yarn, 50 grams, and it was £5, so it's well worth if you're in that area to pop in and have a look, because there's some lovely craft things in there. Let's put those all back in there because I'm trying to be organised in everything. I say I'm trying to be organised. This is the third time I've recorded this video. The first time, for some reason, I didn't press the record button, and the second time I bought a microphone to plug in to make my voice a bit louder, and my daughter said sometimes my videos are quite quiet, but unfortunately the editing software that I use doesn't like external audio or additional audio, so my video kept going out of sync. So all day yesterday I was trying to fiddle with it to get my voice and back in sync, and it didn't work, so I'm having to do it again the third time. So sometimes I'm thinking I'm repeating myself, and if I say as I've said already, I might not have said already because I might have said it yesterday. So my organisation hasn't stretched very far. Acquisitions. I have bought this lovely project bag from Eva at CocoandFlora. She has a podcast, as most of you probably already know, and an Etsy shop, and I bought a project bag from her at Christmas time as well, which was absolutely beautiful. And she was showing on one of her episodes recently the different fabrics that she was going to make bags from, and she showed this fabric, and I said to her that it reminded me of my daughter, because my daughter has mad hair. And Eva thought that was quite funny, and she's named the whole range Mad Hair. And so obviously I had to buy one for Jodie. Oh, stuck to my jumper. And it's beautiful, nice sized bag, and we've got a little progress keeper with a comb, and inside it's beautifully lined, and there's a little pocket, and it's got her CocoandFlora label on. And we've also got another progress keeper with a little mirror to keep in the theme for taming your mad hair. And she also very kindly put in this little pouch, which is called the Pocket Square Notions pouch. And it's her little, she said it was the prototype, and she likes to make the prototypes with good fabric, so she sent that one along to me as well. It's got a little labelling, so that's very nice. I haven't used it yet because I was keeping it nice to show you, and I'm going to have to put a project for Jodie in there. I'm hoping to get a project bag for each member of the family that I knit for, but one that expresses them, so I just thought that would be a bit of fun. Also, I've forgotten already, the socks that I'm knitting for Nikki, I'm going to enter in a new along that Kaz from the Wee So and So is hosting, and it's called the Sockland Cowl, and it runs until the end of June. And if you want to know more details about that, hop over onto Kaz's podcast, the Wee So and So, and she'll tell you all about it. Crochet. I have a finished object. If you remember, I think, yes, last time I said I was going to make this. So out of the Granny Squares and Shapes book, I wanted to make the Vintage Look Beret. And here it is. And it was a nice, quick project to make. And I had to learn a few new techniques to do some of the stitches, but they were really clearly laid out in the book, so there was no difficulty there. I used the yarn that they suggested, which was the Stylecraft Alpaca DK, and they recommended a 4mm hook, which I also used, but unfortunately the hole, the opening to put your head, is way too small, and I've stretched it and I've tried it on other people's heads, but no way that's going on my head, which is really unfortunate. And I know sometimes my stitch count is off, and I've counted around here, and you should have 70 stitches, and I have got 70 stitches, so it's not my stitch count or anything like that. I have no idea why this doesn't fit, but it doesn't fit. So what I've decided to do is put a pad inside, a foam pad, and use it as a cushion cover for a little stool or something like that, because it's so pretty. And I think even if I unpick it, I don't quite know how to get the depth and then still, and to make it fit on my head, so I'm going to use it as a stool cover. That will be fine. And my work in progress that I'm working on this month is the V-stitch baby blanket. I showed this a while ago, and I wasn't that happy with it when I was working on it before, because I thought that the fabric was a bit busy striping up the different yarns. The yarn is Debbie Bliss Eco Baby Prince Cotton, and I thought that was a bit busy, so then I started with blocks of colour, so block, of green and then a block of the patterned pinks. But then I didn't like that either, so I've taken it back to the stripes and then carried on crocheting up. And I like it a lot more this time. And my daughter's friend is having a baby and she's having a little girl, and when she had a little boy I made him a crochet blanket, so this is for her little girl, and I've got plenty of time to do that, and it's just an easy crochet. You don't have to really concentrate very much. And so I take that when I go to craft club, because I now go to a craft club on a Wednesday where we chat about our projects and drink tea and eat biscuits, and you need something quite simple because you couldn't concentrate in there because I'm listening to all the gossip. Sewing. I have a finished object to show you. I shall go and get it. Here it is. I have actually finished my vintage flower bag. My bag from hell is now finished and I love it. So it's not such a bag from hell anymore. I had terrible trouble sewing it up. It's from a kit that I bought at the NEC in Birmingham a couple of years ago, and I explained in previous videos about the pattern being quite basic and things like that. So the only thing I had left to do is where I sewed the shoulder strap onto the bag, it was a bit untidy, so I just used a little band of leftover fabric and I've sewed one on each side to hide the stitching. And it's not brilliant, but I don't think you notice when it's on, and it's really pretty other than that. And I like the patchworking I had to do, and obviously my dummy flap, but I have got pockets on the sides here and it's nice and roomy on the inside. It's a bit hard to show, but I will start using that now the weather's cheering up a bit, so I'm looking forward to going out and about with that. And what else? Oh yes, following on from my yarn stash organisation and laying it all out on the bed and matching it with knitting patterns, I decided to do the same with my fabric stash and my sewing patterns. So the other day I laid all my fabrics out on my bed and started matching them with patterns, sewing patterns that I have. And I was really enjoying that, and I was getting a bit carried away because I got up to about 13 projects and I thought I've got to stop now because there is no way that I'm going to sew all those patterns or projects this year. So I'm going to put in here all the matches that I made between the fabric and the patterns to show you what my plans are. So the last picture that you saw there should have been the boxy top, and this was a free pattern with issue 45 of Simply Sewing magazine. Well, it wasn't free because you obviously have to buy the magazine, and I shall put a little insert here of me wearing it. Sorry, I had to go and get it because I did this video yesterday. After I showed it, I hung it up in the wardrobe. So here it is, and there's the fabric. I tried to look up to see where I got the fabric from, but I couldn't find where I did. I'll try and be a little bit more careful and remembering where I got things from. But it was a really nice, easy sew just to get back into sewing again. And it's just boxy, so it's quite large, and the cotton is a little bit stiff, but I think when I've washed it a few times it'll loosen up and it'll be much better. The only issue I had was this, I couldn't fit the sleeves in the armhole, so I had to do a little pleat on both sides because there was just too much fabric. But that was okay, and it fits okay with like that. And the only thing I've got to say about it is it does say on the pattern that it's a great beginner's pattern, and it is. But the pattern pieces come in the envelope and the actual pattern instructions come in the magazine. I know several magazines do that. That's not the issue. The issue was they were all just written instructions with no pictures and no line diagrams, which was fine for me because now I've sewn a few things, I understood what they were saying, asking you to do. But if I was a complete beginner, some of those steps could have done with a photograph, but never mind. It was okay for me, but like I say, for a complete beginner, they could have done with some photographs just to explain more. Sometimes the written word isn't enough. In the pipeline for sewing. So you've seen all my projects that I plan to do, and I think my next project is going to be the jade dress. Now I made this before, but I wasn't that fussed on the fabric. I liked the look of it, but it was really hard to work with. It was quite thin and it was getting stuck in my sewing machine. And also these pleats here on the front, you had to line up with the princess seams, and I did line them up, but I lined them up on the inside, so when I put it in the right way, the pleats were the wrong way round. So I'm going to do it again, hopefully the right way round, and I'm going to use this fabric, which is the flamingo flower print in blue, and I've got 3 meters of it, and I got it from Minerva Crafts, which I bought it last summer. So I actually bought it to make Jodie a maternity dress, and I made her one dress and I didn't do any more, so I'm using it for this pattern instead. My new segment. My new segment is going to be all about the home, so decor and DIY. We've lived here for around about 5 years. We've done quite a lot of work to the house, but there's still plenty to do, as there always is in houses. And I thought, due to my new organisation plans, that I'd start organising some of these projects too. I'm going to go room by room and look for 3 or maybe 4 projects that I can do in each room, starting with the kitchen. Now my kitchen is really small, and we have had it replastered and we've had a new kitchen installed, but there are still some projects I need to do, and the 3 things I'm going to do are the skirting boards, and the door needs another coat of paint. I need to make a Roman blind, and also I'm going to clean up the quarry tile floor. So I'll give you a little tour of the kitchen first, and then when you come back I shall tell you a little bit more, in a little bit more detail, my plans. And we have the window and the sink and a tiny dishwasher with a fridge and a little corner cupboard, and a cupboard with microwave. And this is the back door that leads out into some outbuildings. And we have another little strange window. And our cooker is tucked away in a little alcove, which is actually under the stairs. And then you come around
to this little cupboard with a double cupboard above and your background to the living room door. Under about 3 layers of lino tiles, I found the original quarry tiles.
So there you have it, my kitchen, very small like I say. This is the fabric that I want to make the curtain or the Roman blind out of. And in this book, Learn to Sew with Lauren, she has got a Roman blind as one of the projects here, and I'm going to follow that. The fabric is from Dunelm Mill, and I have a Roman blind kit from Terry's Fabrics, which comes with the little bars to go across for the Roman blind folds and everything you need to actually make the blind. I'm going to follow the instructions in that book really carefully, because the last time I made curtains that were for my bathroom, and in a previous video I talked about that, and they were a little bit of a disaster because I went completely wrong when it was something as simple as curtains and I got it all wrong. So hopefully this time it will be much better. And I have got this extreme power cleaner to try and clean up the quarry tile floor, because when we were doing the kitchen, I had the units, we pulled up 3 layers of lino tiles, and underneath all these horrible tiles we found the original quarry tiled floor. But there's so much glue and sticky horrible stuff on the floor from all these years being under all this lino, and I've tried everything to clean it off. I've tried different products like that one, and I've tried steam cleaning it. I've had a heat gun on it, wire wool, everything, and each time it brings a little bit more off, but not enough. So that's the last chance, extreme power cleaner, and see if that works, because if not, I'm going to have to think of a different flooring. But apparently original quarry tiles are laid on the earth floor, and so if you try and cover them, sometimes water gets trapped between the quarry tiles and the new flooring, and I don't want anything like that go on. So hopefully I will be able to clean it up. And then it's just the painting of the door and the skirting, so hopefully I shall get most of that done by next time, but if not, it'll just be work in progress. So that's about it this month. I am hoping to record the last Monday of March. So if you would like to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell, and then you will be notified when my next video is up. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a comment below if you wish, because I like to read everyone's comments and I will always reply. And I shall see you all soon.